The Nightmares Unleashed update changed a lot about the map in Ravenswatch, to the point where I didn't know if a how to run the map video would work anymore. There's a lot of RNG in the game when it comes to map generation and what points of interest you have, so I can't tell you what to do on exactly every map, and a lot of the decision making will still need to come from you, but what I can do is try to point you in the right direction. If you like this video and want to see more Ravenswatch content, consider subscribing as I post frequently. This video will be broken up into 3 parts: points of interest and where to go, how to handle the Chapter 1 side quest and how that will change your route, and lastly, advanced tips that might change the order of where to go and boost your efficiency. If you're looking to really improve from Darkness to Nightmare, especially from Nightmare to Negative Modifier runs, make sure to stick to the end, as these tips will be the best for bridging that gap. When you load into a map, you'll be shown where your Master Nightmare is, where your side quest is, and a few other points of interest. Points of interest will always spawn in the same set of locations around the map, but the actual point of interest you take on will be randomized every single run. Green points of interest are closest to your spawn point and are generally the easiest camps to take on, and in most instances, these are what you should take on first. But before leaving the starting circle, make sure to check your Sandman shop, as it might give you a build direction, or have something in there that will change the order of the camps that you take on. I'll leave that for the end with advanced tips though. Take a look at the points of interest revealed to you on your map. Most likely 2 of them will be green. If one of these points of interest is your vision tower, then I recommend starting with that, as completing your vision tower will reveal more points of interest, but will also give you experience for an early level 2, which can really help boost your clear speeds on future camps. In Nightmare difficulty, this is just over half the total experience you need to hit level 2, and with clearing the camp, you should get there. Vision towers are especially important in the current Nightmares Unleashed update version of the game, as they can also reveal if you have a key on your map. Because of this, I highly recommend revealing any points of interest on your way to the vision tower. You don't need to clear them out, just reveal them before you use your vision tower. This way, you eliminate 1 or more possible points of interest for your vision tower to reveal, potentially allowing for it to reveal a key. Now, what do you do if you don't have a vision tower revealed to you? This is where making this video gets hard, because prior to the Nightmares Unleashed update, I would have said search your green camps for your vision tower, but with this update, you are not guaranteed a green vision tower. You are not guaranteed a lot of things now, and that's what really makes this difficult. I don't know if you'll have a vision tower. I don't know if you'll have an astral shrine on your map. I don't know if you have a locked chest, and if you do, I don't know what color camp it is. I don't know if you have a blood ritual or a key boss on your map. I don't know if you have a wishing well. All these things have a chance to not be on your map, which makes it hard to recommend what you should do, as you might not have what I'm talking about. But let's try. If you don't have a vision tower revealed to you at the start of your run, you should go to whatever green point of interest is the furthest away from the center of map and hasn't been revealed yet. From here, complete adjacent green points of interest as you make your way towards the center of the map. Try not to engage with monsters outside of camps, and sneak small dream shards whenever possible. Meaning if you get into combat, it might be better to abandon them for later. If you run into a locked green or orange chest while doing this, it's your choice to clear the camp or keep moving. I'd normally only clear the camp if I'm close to the next level, but do your best to find a teleport near the camp before you move on. If you come across a green grimoire, I would only do this at level 2 if you're really confident with your clear speeds based on your level 2 talent. If not, save it for level 3, but make sure to grab the teleport for it. If you have a wishing well, it's normally worth spending your dream shards here when you come across this, unless you're saving for something more time sensitive in the Sandman shop, like Philosopher's Stone or Hungry Grass or Hope Diamond. Wishing wells are the best place to target a magical object you want, as the color of the well will determine the reward it has. A green wishing well costs 300 in total, an orange costs 500, and a red costs 750. The price of what you put into the well will determine the quality of the reward. 50 dream shards will get you a consumable, 100 is for common magical object, 150 for rare magical objects, 250 for epics, and 350 for either a legendary or cursed magical object. When you're halfway through clearing your camps, this is normally when you'll be confronted with a side quest in Chapter 1. In Nightmare difficulty, I like to do this at level 3 and use the experience I gain from turning in the materials to hit level 4. Every 5 stack of materials you turn in will net you some experience. You don't want to fail defending the home in Chapter 1, so depending on your confidence in your build, you can start this earlier, but using the materials to hit level 4 should guarantee you the defend in most cases. Depending on your side quest, this will change your routing, and I'll get into all 3 variations in the second part of this video. From here, your run can go a few ways. If you've already discovered a locked chest and key boss, it means you have a blood ritual on your map, most likely, and this would be a great time to start that. Locked chests can be very impactful bonuses to a run, and you'll never want to miss out on them, so I'd go for that now. If you have the ghoul boss, then go ahead and take that on now, and if you have the white lady and you want to go for Hope Diamond or Hungry Grass, you can do that now, because she only drops cursed magical objects. Hope Diamond might be important if you still have some red dream shard camps left, but I generally like to wait till level 5 to take on the white lady, as you can burst her down a bit easier during a stagger and ignore the ad phase that she can spawn. If you haven't revealed your tumor or altar of heroes point of interest, keep track of how many unrevealed locations you have, as it might save you some time, as you might not have any reasons to go to those. If you end up clearing the red rest of the points of interest beside the tumor and have about a minute 30 in your run, I recommend leaving the tumor and completing healing fountains or searching for dream shards. While completing the tumor does reduce the boss's HP and give you some experience, I found that it's almost always better to go after more dream shards for the longevity of your run. This will help you buy something from the Sandman shop, a wishing well magical object, upgrade a talent, which is almost always better for you. Now to get into probably the most impactful part of your chapter 1 run decision making, but probably the most dreaded part for me in writing this script. Side quest. I'm going to start it off easy with stone side quests. If your side quest is any of these locations, I can 100% assure you it is a stone side quest. There are certain points of interest that are larger than others, like the Pig Castle, the Ghoul Tower, the Raids Plateau, and others that could only spawn at these locations, and stone side quests can only be in one of these. I recommend picking up the teleport for stone side quests if you ever path close to it. You should aim to start the stone side quests at level 3 with about half of your experience bar filled. This will guarantee pretty much that you hit level 4 by the time you turn in the materials. When you start the quest, there will always be one stone right below the pig. For stone side quests, you will be shown 2 caves on your map, and each cave will have 13 of the 15 materials you need, so you'll need to find one more in the surrounding area. There are 2 cave variations, one with a fork that goes left and right, and one that puts you right into a room with enemies. The one that starts you off with a room of enemies is generally the better cave, as it has 2 hordes of enemies, or the one with the fork has 3. Wood and straw side quests share the same locations, but a general rule is that if your side quest is close to your starting location and it isn't stone, then it's likely straw. This is because the point of interest where you can collect straw can also be green points of interest, or the wood points of interest can only be orange and red. Let's start with wood because it's easier of the two and the most advantageous side quest in your run. It's very common that you should just start wood side quest when you naturally come across it. You will typically be level 3 at this time or close to it, which is okay, because an orange vision tower might be part of your wood quest. You can pick up wood for the quest by defeating any trees in the map. They don't have to be at the quest location, or by finding wood around the map. I wouldn't recommend clearing any wood side quest locations before starting the wood side quest, as the trees will respawn and you'll have to go back to clear that camp again, but there are some expectations to this that I'll go over now. But only do this if you're super confident with your own skill or current build. If you come across a wood side quest camp prior to starting the quest, and it's a vision tower that could push you to level 3, I'd recommend doing it, or if it's a chest that can greatly improve your clear speeds with the right magical object, and you don't have any teleports nearby. If you do take on one of these early, you'll have to fight some trees outside of camps, or collect 2 to 5 wood bundles lying around the map in order to get the 15 that you need. Now for straw, and I'm honestly just going to play the clip that I made a year ago for the straw quest, as all the information here is still relevant and applies. Now to talk about the straw side quest, as it is the most difficult version of the quest and can ruin my pathing recommendations based off the camps where the straw needs to be gathered. The reason the straw house is more difficult to defend is because you need to defend the house from 360 degrees. This means your strong AoE abilities that help clear enemy camps at the stone or wood house aren't effective here because the enemies are on all sides. Also, the stone and wood house are tucked into their own little camp, so you don't often have other enemies walk into the fight. The straw house is super open, and if you move far away from the house to finish off an enemy, you might accidentally bring in a whole group of enemies to the fight. Because of this, I tend to try to keep the straw house side quest to the last 4 minutes, where I'm basically as strong as I'll be to make sure I have the best clearing potential. The issue with this is if the straw side quest spawns near your starting location. I gave the advice that you shouldn't do side quest points of interest until you start the side quest, but I also said that you should start the side quest around level 3. If your starting green vision tower is part of the straw side quest, but you want to use it to hit level 2, what should you do? I think you have 4 options here. The first option is skipping the 2 locations where you would collect the straw, which sucks because it means you're going to have to go into the yellow camps while you're weaker with slower clearing speeds, and then you come back and do it once you hit level 3. The second option is to bite the bullet and go to the camp and get your experience, then go back and clear it again when you start the side quest. The third is to start the side quest right away and go clear these camps to get your materials and return and try to protect the house at a lower level. I really don't recommend this because it wastes a lot of time if you fail. The fourth thing you could do is go instantly start the side quest and clear the camps while you get your early game experience. Collect the materials while you're there and then turn them into the pig. Every 5th material you turn in will give you experience, so if you turn in all 15, you'll get 450 experience in Nightmare difficulty. Then ditch the house and continue your run like the pig never existed. He can fend for himself. Obviously, the downside of this is that you won't get the rest of your experience for defending the house or the legendary that is rewarded, but when your other option is potentially losing your run because you had a slow early game from waiting, or wasting your time trying to defend the house at a low level and failing, it's an okay option. Hopefully in the future they balance out the straw house with a redesign or make it so that it only spawns far away from your starting location. Now for the advanced tips section of the video, and the goal of this section is to show you things you might not have known or help build your consistency of completing nightmare runs or moving on to negative modifier runs. A lot of camps are sneakable in Ravenswatch depending on the location of enemies. This tree camp is sneakable a majority of the time. Sometimes you may need to take out enemies on this side of the camp though. The other two tree camps can be sneaked if you get lucky with the spawn locations of enemies. You can sneak the top part of Pig Castle if there are no pigs near the staircase. This circle layout camp is normally sneakable if you slowly walk up to the POI from the top of it, but you may need to do a dash sneak. This means dashing at the last possible moment before being detected by an enemy and holding down the interact button to either open the chest or use the vision tower right before you get in combat with an enemy. A great example of dash sneaking are the cave optional boss fights like the ghoul in chapter 1, the crab in chapter 2, or the wolf in chapter 3. You can sneak all of these. A lot of Dream Shard camps can be broken before going into the camp, saving you the time from having to clear it out. A ranged character or a ranged ability normally makes this easier. These include the previously mentioned camps, the pig camp with Dream Shards against the wall, and the camp with the circle of pikes, but only some characters can do this one. Eel diving attacks at nighttime can break Dream Shards for you very easily, and the lightning genies in chapter 2 will easily break Dream Shard crystals for you as well. There are some teleports that seem to appear more often than others in some beneficial areas, and I'll show those now. I always recommend trying to find one of these if you're going to be leaving the area and you don't have a good teleport back. You should also try to find a good midpoint teleport before committing to a side of the map so that you don't have to run your way back across the map. If you have enemies following you and you're going to a point of interest that has a teleport like a grimoire or refugees, just grab the teleport and keep moving. Clear out your next camp, and when you find another teleport, you can then teleport back to the grimoire or the refugees. This way you won't have to deal with any of the enemies that were following you. Keep in mind that it takes 4 seconds to teleport, which can add up over the course of a chapter. Because of this, I like to travel back to Sandman only when it's going to be a big damage bump for me, or when it can save me some time. In chapter 1, the best time to travel back to Sandman is immediately after you've turned in all the materials for side quests. This is because the pig will take about 4 seconds to walk in his house and start spawning enemies. Use this time to buy whatever you can. Because of this, I also try to do any Dream Shard camps I have left on the map before turning in side quest so I can get the most out of my trip to Sandman's shop. And speaking of Sandman, if you have Rapid Shape in your shop, it might be worth running the map in a different order to try to guarantee some magical objects. Because Rapid Shape duplicates a magical object you have randomly, you can guarantee what magical object it'll be if you only have one magical object. It might be worth starting your run with a green vision tower to hit level 2, then beeline to the red points of interest and do a shard camp and a red chest to pick up a charge or a cooldown to have that duplicated. These are some of the strongest items to have early game and can really help snowball your runs. Now this tip with the refugees might not work because I'm recording this before the Romeo and Juliet update, but they are making it so you are no longer locked into choosing an option from the refugees when you talk to them. If a refugee has an offer that won't do anything for your run, like the one that gives you 1 vitality or the one that just reveals a point of interest, it might be optimal to let an enemy go into the camp and kill them, as if you don't pick an option from them, they should still drop something for you, or they just work like a dead refugee where you have a 50% chance of getting something. Morally, this is a horrific thing to do, but it might be the optimal way to play. Now the last thing I want to talk about is legendary or cursed magical object targeting. This is tough to do and will mainly only apply in your chapter 3, but it could happen sooner. Let's say you're in chapter 3 and you have both the witch's optional boss and the wolf optional boss. You will have 3 opportunities for a legendary or curse this chapter, as the witches only give cursed magical objects, defeating Alexander in the side quests only gives you legendaries, and the wolf can give you either legendary or cursed. And let's say you're trying to get the cursed magical object Baylor's Eye and only have a few rerolls. The best way to do this would be defeating Alexander and opening the chest, but not taking anything. This way you'll reveal 3 legendary magical objects, or 4 if you already have Tommy Tobacco. You do this because you can't have 2 of the same legendary or cursed magical objects. Now you would go fight the wolf boss. All the magical objects that you had in your Alexander chest can't show up in this loot pool, so you have a greater chance of seeing cursed magical objects. Let's say you see 2 cursed magical objects and a legendary one from this chest. You should now go take on the witches, as they could only give you cursed magical objects, and you have eliminated 2 from the pool and any previous ones you've got in the run. This will give you your best odds at getting Baylor's Eye and will hopefully not take more than 1 reroll. It is a process to do this, so I would only say do it if it's absolutely necessary to your build. 2 very beneficial dreams the Sandman sells are the Sand of Enlightenment and the Sand of Knowledge. Sand of Knowledge is better in chapter 2 and 3 when you have more of your talents upgraded and are at higher rarity, but Sand of Enlightenment is a great dream to have in chapter 1. Some talents greatly benefit from being upgraded more than other talents, and this lets you fully upgrade one talent for 250 dream shards instead of the 350 it would cost to upgrade all the way from common. If you're level 4 and all of your talents are common, and you want something like Spinning Solo on Pied Piper upgraded to Legendary, you can upgrade the other 3 talents once, then buy the Sand of Enlightenment Dream to get Spinning Solo to Legendary, saving you a bunch of dream shards in the process. Lastly, I have a few decision making tips to maximize your time. Almost never fight enemies that aren't in camps. I talked about exceptions with the fountains and the crystals, but you should try to avoid these fights most of the time. The only other times you should really fight enemies outside of camps are as if you need to pick up a key, or you're about to go in a camp and you have a bunch of healer cultists following you into the camp. They should be killed as to not make the camp take forever with all their heals. A tip to get around this though, depending on the size of the camp, is to run to the completely other side of it before fighting any of the enemies. If the healers travel far enough, then they will leash back to their location outside of the camp and you won't have to fight them. And that is everything. If I think of anything else, then I will leave it down in a pinned comment below. Thank you so much for watching. If this was helpful, then I would really appreciate a like on the video, but I will catch you next time. Peace.